We have Greg Iwinski is back with us. Hey, Greg, how are you?
Oh, hi.
Oh,
Sorry.
hey, hi. I was.
I'm also I'm producing an episode of Contract TK, which is our strike late night show, as we
Nice.
speak on this laptop as well. So I'm
Hey, if
doing.
you want to, you can stream this in, and we'll.
Yeah, I mean, it will so help fill out the running time. We'll just
Yeah,
throw it up there.
look, we got hours of standing outside of buildings. We
Yeah.
need all the content we can get. So, hey, man, thanks again for joining us. And when you were on last time, right after the strike started, it was so insightful to understand things. But you heard what we talked about before. What's the impact going to be, do you think, on not just Star Wars, but shows that I don't know, just maybe let's just say the industry broadly? I think it's probably
Yeah, I think the issue that's happening right now too is there's obviously going to be a contraction of the industry because you went from 10 years ago they were making 200 scripted series. Now they're making 600.
Jeez.
Well, there's probably not enough people to watch 600 shows all the way through.
Right.
And that's fine if we're in a TV industry that doesn't need ratings. Everything gets, Netflix says it's a hit. They say, oh, it's the most watched thing on Hulu. Can you tell us why? No, they won't tell the showrunners what the numbers are.
Right.
As a showrunner, you get conversations that are like, well, you're not hitting our internal metrics. And you ask, what are the internal metrics? And they say, we will not tell you. So there's no way to know any success, what the fans like. There's no fan feedback. But in that world, you can make 600 shows. You can say they're all hits and whatever. As we move back, we're moving back to a model where you make money off ads because hits can make more and more money.
Yep.
A gym membership, like that model, like Spotify does, you can only make so much money if it's just a subscription fee. Because either you run out of people and then you just got to keep cranking it up. Netflix is $24 or whatever now.
Yeah.
So it kind of everybody chases Netflix. Then halfway through they realize, oh wait, Netflix doesn't work. This is all kind of a big sham. Yeah, exactly. It is like I mean, yes, Bill Hader was thinking about reality when he wrote that storyline. But it is that idea of we are moving back to a place where you go, wow, the best way to make a bunch of money, not quarter over quarter profit for my stockholders. Mm-hmm. That's not a thing entertainment can do as an industry. But the way that we all get rich is that I pay some people to make stuff everyone wants to watch, and then I make $1 zillion on the ads, and then I sell the show in syndication, and I make $1 zillion more dollars. And as long as I can keep getting hits, it pays for all the losses and more. That's what you do with movies. That's what you do with TV. It's just that the guys who came in now, they don't know the business. Right. This is really the thing. Is Iger is so shocking. I mean, I can tell you, inside the industry, people are shocked that he's had this turn where he could have retired as a hero, the guy who ducked out just before COVID started, and then instead he came back to make $54 million in 2 years of work, and then come and talk about what's unrealistic from a billionaire summer camp that he flew to on his private jet. And it's like, I don't know if you're the guy anymore, if you still have your fastball, because, and I think you look across, with the tech guys who came in, no one in the Writers Guild or the Actors Guild thinks that somebody running a studio is going to be this benevolent person who comes in and is like, I just love art, guys. Everyone, just put out whatever's on your heart. Well, that fan fiction you had for so long, just make that. It's going to be great. No. But back in the day, this is what Fran Drescher was talking about in that speech, was like, in the day, you were dealing with a cutthroat money guy, CEO. But that guy loved movies. And they loved TV. They had a favorite movie. They liked the art form. They knew the art form. They could tell you what a key grip did. Because they were the guys who were like, I want to run a movie studio and but they loved what they were doing. And now we're in a situation where it's like we work in a bakery and the person who comes in doesn't eat bread. They don't know what bread is. They don't care if the bread they make is good. They care about the stock price of the bakery, and that's it. And so that's the real problem that we're in this moment, because now, as everything contracts with the industry, what's getting cut and how it's getting cut is not based on hits or audience or any of that, because they don't know how to make hits. They're just going to try to slash everywhere to replace as much labor as you can with AI, because that's essentially free, and then see if they can somehow make it profitable, because again, they continue to avoid the real way you make money in Hollywood, which is you hire people, writers, actors, directors, crew, who know what human beings like, and then when they make that, you make money.
Mm.
but they don't know how to do that. And that's why you see all these IPs that they're bring you in with nostalgia, all these different, not just fan service, but all of this pitching to just try to draw people in. It's because they just aren't making hits. So this is a very long answer to your question, but but to say like what's going to happen is, I think they will make less because it's the spigot has been turned on full blast, and I think you'll get back to a place where like maybe we get a Star Wars once every 2 years, 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's bad. I think for people like us who spent 10 years, almost 2 decades with no new Star Wars movie, if you tell me I get one every 2 years, that's dope. Yeah. That's enough. If I get 2 great shows, especially if again they don't have to be 6 episodes. That's the crazy thing. You can make a 16-episode season. And if I get 2 of those a year, cool. You know what I'm saying? So all that to say, I know I'm running you through the break, but just the idea that like there will be less, but that will also give us all more time to work on it. Because I think you think about it, this is I mean, look, I could talk about Star Wars for 18 hours, but the idea that like with the Filoni thing, and he's like Anakin is that's true. Because he said it and he's writing right now. And then if another person comes in and opens up a script and is like, actually, Plo Koon is the best Jedi, that now becomes true because we're all making it up and typing it.
Right.
It's like we always say those battles, it's like, who would win, Superman or Wolverine? Who is writing? That's going to decide how they win. Because we will find a way.
Yep.
I will find a way to make Mr. Mitya Spitlick beat Thanos. I will figure out a way, and then I'll write it. And that will happen. And so with the thing with him talking about Anakin's best Jedi, he thinks that's cool.
That's right.
I mean that's it. I don't know. I think I've been diving in. It's this idea of like him and George and all these people that have come in and shaped Star Wars. I really do think that it's George, Timothy Zahn, Filoni. Those are the 3 generation launchers of Star Wars.
I love that.
But at the same time, it's important for us all as Star Wars fans to remember that in the spirit of a union, Star Wars came out of collaboration.
Right.
Of the husband and wife team rewriting A New Hope. And then Marsha coming in and saving A New Hope. And then Carrie doing all the script editing. And then Kazan coming in. Like, all of this stuff is a bunch of people coming in and scrambling to make something work. And that's what will happen with this new stuff. So if we can win this strike and reset the idea that a television writer's room is a group of people cohesively building a show and shepherding it through to success, the Star Wars shows will get better. If we have a situation with these movies where things like people are not infinitely doing tiny rewrites while having most of their pay hung over their heads and they can just write it with a weekly pay, which would cost the studios the same amount of money, you would just pay it weekly. That kind of stuff is going to lead to better content because the people making your stuff can afford to pay rent in LA. I think about they think about the episode of The Bear, and the writer that went viral talking about that they overdrafted their account while they were accepting an Emmy.
Yeah.
So being on a hit doesn't financially save you. Well, if that becomes what the industry is, any of us who are vulnerable, and that means people of color, anyone who comes from a poor background of any race, all of us are never going to get in the industry because we can't afford to stay here. Our dad doesn't run a bank and pay our rent.
Right.
And when that happens, all these shows are going to get worse. All this stuff is going to get worse. So I think when this strike ends, when we win, I think you'll be in a new place where there will be less shows, but the shows will be better. Because the person writing it for you, the person acting for you, is not sitting there in the back of their head thinking, man, I'm on a hit, but I better go to my second job on the day off I have from this.
Right.
Yeah. So last question.
Sorry, that's a lot.
No, that's great.
all.
And that's exactly the kind of insight that I think.
Pete,
more
are you
people
coming to
need
the
hear.
question that I was coming to from Chaco in the chat?
No, I was not. I don't know what his
Okay.
question was.
No, he's kicking me out. I'm done. I'm getting kicked out. I can
what
feel
is-
it. I can
what's-
feel a
What's
break.
Chaco's
Well,
question? Go ahead, throw that
We
out.
had a question from the chat. Can you talk about what influencers should do? What should people with podcasts
Yes.
do? How can we help? What is the role?
That's a much better question than I was going to ask. So that's good.
There's a couple things, kind of big and small. One is there are places to donate to. The Entertainment Community Fund is not just for writers; it's for all the crew, all the cameramen, all the assistants, all these people who have been out of work for 11 weeks. Also, there's a thing called the Green Envelope Mutual Aid Fund, which just buys grocery gift cards for people because there are tens of thousands of people that aren't writers or actors who aren't working now. And I can tell you, a PA, an assistant, someone working in footage, someone who's a focus puller, these are not huge. These are blue collar, real, regular American jobs.
Yep.
And they've now had to pay rent 3 times with no salary coming in. So it's rough. And so donating to those things can help. But the other thing is again, I think Nick did a great job, which is to continue to talk about that. For most people, this is a job. It's a regular career. You are not a famous star. People don't recognize you on the street. You do not have a cool house. Again, you live in one of the 2 most expensive cities in America. That's where you live. And you are hunting for job to job to job, even if you're good. You know, this is my favorite Star Wars action figure. This is it right here. I have this. That doesn't get me a job.
Right.
I got to go find a job and work a job, you know. And so it doesn't matter what happens. So I think for influencers I think join in solidarity, because all of creativity is being attacked, especially because of the disrespect shown to people who are internet maker people that like they're going to use AI to try to replace every viral account.
Yep.
To try to do every influencer trend, because absolutely there's a company out there thinking, if I could get a fake avatar of an AI person and they start all the trends and we get all the clicks, then now if I've created PewDiePie but it's a fake IA person who isn't going to have any scandals, genius.
Yep.
So I think to call out those threats, but also I think just to realize that we are all in this together. There's a reason that like we were marching with the Teamsters who are picketing at UPS, because things like their trucks don't have air conditioning.
Yeah.
And they're delivering stuff, about with them, with the Amazon workers, with the Starbucks workers, with all of us. I grew up in a state that didn't have unions. I grew up in Arizona. I didn't know anything about it. But to see the dignity of work that is protected by unions and realize that that's for all of us. Yeah. We have to fight back. It's so Star Wars. I mean, it's so freaking Star Wars that it's like that there are more. Yes, and I went back and I watched One Way Out last night because Bo Williman wrote it, and he is my friend. And I love Bo. He's been a very nice guy to me, and he's great. And he wrote it, and I think it is the best episode of television of the year. And I said that on Twitter, and when it came out, I texted him, and I was like, I'm mad at you. That's what I said. I'm gonna walk and talk because I have to go ring the guy in for my food. You're just getting the real Greg experience now. But I wrote to him, and I was like, I'm mad at you. I'm mad at you because you made something so good. That I have no, when something is that good as a writer, you're like, this exists and it's so freaking good and I didn't make it, but it's so, and it's so good. But I think watching it again, it is so exactly this moment. And Bo is a huge pro-labor guy. He was president of the Writers Guild for a while. And it's that idea, exactly, Nick, there are more of us. Right. They want us to be afraid of them because they're a billionaire, because they run a company, because because they write a check while we make the things that people love.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And we don't need to be afraid of them.
I put in the chat Entertainment Community Fund for folks to click on. What was the other one you said? I'm sorry, I was.
I think it's called Green Envelope Mutual Aid. Okay. Is what I believe it's called. So, sorry, I'm ranting. I'm coming in blowing the show.
This is good. Well, listen, we've now seen you on major news networks and the SSW Network. So,
yes.
Well, there's your dinner.
That's right.
We will. I really appreciate you calling in and giving us this insight, and I'm hopeful that we don't have to talk to you about this again. But we need this to end.
Next time I come on, I would like to talk exclusively about the Kuat shipyards. The next time I come
on, it's a big thing for Greg. The Kuat shipyards.
It's a huge thing for me.
Major thing for Greg. So we're gonna do that.
There may be a thing that happens later that is publicly released that I will be able to talk about.
Imagine that. Well, we're definitely going to do that. And anybody who's watching this, if you're not listening to Yub Nub Podcast, which is Greg, Tim, and Jim, please go listen to Yub Nub. It's such a great show. It's 3 TV writers talking about Star Wars, and it's totally worth your time.
It's fantastic. Greg, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we will see you again soon. Enjoy your dinner, Greg.
Awesome. See you, buddy.
Thanks. Bye.